Welcome to our Series 11 launch of Death in Paradise. Thanks for joining us. I'm delighted to be joined on our panel today by Red Planet Pictures exec producer Tim Keyes, Ralph Little, who plays DI Neville Parker. We have Don Warrington, aka Commissioner Selwyn Paston, Taj Miles, who plays Officer Marlon Price, Elizabeth Bourgine, who plays Mayoress Catherine, and newest recruit Chantel Jackson, who plays Sergeant Naomi Thomas. Welcome, everyone. Tim, I wondered if we could start with you first. We saw a lot of familiar faces returning to celebrate the 10-year anniversary, including Ben Miller and Sarah Martins. And I just wondered, will we be seeing any more of them or others in Series 11, or was that just a one-off treat? Are we being too greedy?
That was very much a 10th anniversary treat. But I wouldn't rule anything out with anybody. And I think, we saw Danny again in the Christmas special, and we remain on very good terms. We're friends with all of our cast, and I think that I would love to see people again. So I think for Series 11, we've got some sort of surprise arrivals, but I wouldn't say necessarily that they're returning faces. But yeah, we keep all options open.
And talking of can you tell us a bit about the upcoming guest appearances we have to look forward to and storylines that you can tease?
Across all of Series 11?
Yeah, just like...
Wow.
Not too hard.
No, that's good. I mean, in terms of storylines, we've got our kind of, we've got our usual mixture of sort of, obviously the crime stories, as we always do, which are our kind of bread and butter, but we're trying always to have fun with those and surprise the audience and surprise ourselves and tell them in new and interesting ways. And the very first episode, for example, opens in quite a different way with a kidnapping that doesn't quite pan out as people might hope it would. And so, it's things like that where we kind of try and have fun with it. We've got we play quite a big crime serial story that builds across the first half of the series and ends in quite a different way for us. And so we're always looking at those stories and seeing what we can do differently, whilst always delivering what the show's famous for and what the audience love about it and what they want to get. But where we can really have fun is in the sort of serial stories that we play and the way that we challenge our characters. And so right from the beginning, we've got a brand new face joining the team in the shape of Naomi, played by Chantal, who we're so lucky to have and delighted that she's with us. And watching her journey across the series is really interesting. We obviously have the Neville and Florence story that's ongoing and that we have a lot of fun with. And then we've also got some sort of personal challenges for our characters. Kind of challenge Selwyn in quite a profound way. Neville faces a kind of a surprise from back home at one point, and that plays over a number of episodes. And Marlon, for example, has kind of a journey of his own to go on, and one of his sort of former associates gets involved in a crime story, and that tests Marlon. So I think we're always looking at the way that we can take all of our characters and challenge them and have fun with them and surprise the audience and keep our actors happy and intrigued. And we have the joy of Elizabeth in the show, who we can sort of play alongside everyone, and everyone has sort of wonderful moments where she's a confidant to them or an advisor to them or a kind of authority figure. So I just think we do our best to make sure that we're keeping it all as fresh as we possibly can, whilst always remembering what the show is and what the audience love about it. And it's a tricky line to walk sometimes, but it's what keeps us excited and what we think, one of the reasons that we hope the show remains as popular as it has been so far.
Absolutely. And you're very good at attracting really good guest appearances, like from the guest stars. Can you give us a little tease of anyone that you can tell us about that we'll be seeing on the island?
Well, we've announced all sorts of people, and we do attract great guest stars. And I think the joke is obviously, they come out because they want to have some time out in paradise, and I'm not saying that isn't entirely true, but I think they also just love being part of a show that's so loved by the audience, and that they get to play something quite often very different to what they normally play. So we've got we've got Tamsin Houthwaite's with us in episode 2, for example. Kate O'Flynn joins us. My mind's gone completely blank. I'm really sorry. My mind's gone completely blank at the moment.
They've been announced already, so I mean, fans will be excited already for them.
They have. I mean, all I know is that every time when we get our cast together, we're blown away by how kind of excited they are to be part of the show, and also how amazing they are on screen. And I think that there isn't an episode when when the rushes start coming through that you just don't see these amazing actors flying out there to keep our cast sort of challenged and inspired, and you never quite know who you're going to be acting alongside. So yeah, we've got a very we're very lucky to attract the people that we attract.
Yeah, absolutely. Ralph, I want to turn my attention to you, please. In series 10, we had a tantalizing Will Neville confess his feelings for Florence or not, and then obviously after the Christmas special, it was like, did she hear him reveal his feelings or not? So will you finally be putting us out of our misery in the new series?
Well, I won't be putting you out of your misery right now. I can tell you that for a fact. I'll get in all sorts of trouble if I give you any hints there. No, there's been a few times, the guys have heard me say this before, there's been a few times where I'm sort of really tempted to try and cleverly answer and go, well, maybe if you watch out, but I just know that I'll end up giving something away. There's so many actual detectives out there that are pretty much on Neville's level of being able to figure this stuff out that I'm afraid I'm just going to have to say you're going to have to wait and see.
God, okay.
Sorry.
What can you tell us about the viewer feedback, like in terms of if they want to see it happen, if they want Flevel to be a thing?
Florville. That's the official name.
That's the official line.
I've only ever seen it written down. So is it Florville, Floraville, or Flevel, which I quite like. Yeah, I mean, people really do want it to be a thing. I think you always do, don't you? Like even when I was a kid, you just wanted Mulder and Scully to get together, just as it was really kind of the overarching thing that you really wanted. But I guess that just means that we're doing our job right, and the writers are doing the job right. They're creating characters that people really respond to and people really care about. And you know what? Those two characters are, regardless of where they end up and where they're going to go, they're already incredibly important to each other. And she's personally helped Neville overcome so much that he was struggling with, that's helped him to stay on the island. And they're a big part of each other's life. So whichever way it plays out, of course, is going to be significant. So yes, I think the fact that people are really invested is a wonderful thing.
And would you, personally speaking, would you like to see them be a thing? And like, what kind of boyfriend would Neville even be?
Wow, good question. I think well, he's obviously very handsome. I think we can all agree on that. First and foremost. What are you laughing at, Don Warrington? I can see you chuckling. Yeah, fair enough. I think that Neville would actually be a lovely boyfriend, truth be told. I think he's incredibly kind and sweet. I think he can probably get a little bit annoying sometimes with his particular peculiarities and peccadillos and stuff. But actually, as the series has gone on, he's managed to overcome a lot of his kind of more, I guess you might say, irritating traits. He's more willing to allow himself to be out of his comfort zone and just let the chips fall where they may. And all of that, I think, has made him into a much sort of stronger person. And in answer to your question, probably be a pretty good boyfriend. I think he'd be incredibly loyal and kind and caring. And I kind of want to go out with him now.
He'd be good with giving the facts and the trivia, that's for sure. He'd be good in a pub quiz with her.
Oh, definitely. If you're the kind of girl who's looking for a guy who wants to win pub quizzes, you're in.
Tick, tick, tick. Yeah. He's got, as you said, he's got increasingly adventurous as he's embraced island life. And I wondered how else he'll be pushing himself out of his comfort zone in series 11. I'm kind of like trying to nudge you towards talking about the skydiving because I'm excited about this.
Well, Tim will be able to kind of tell you a bit more about that. But there were various by the time sort of we see the scripts, the guys back home in London have worked really, really hard and for months on them. And So there's usually a version where this happened, and then maybe that got changed. So by the time we see them, they've been through iteration after iteration. And I believe there was an episode where Neville didn't skydive. There was an episode where Neville did skydive. There was an episode where he skydived in tandem. There was an episode where he went on his own. There was an episode where none of it. So again, without giving anything away, let's just say all possibilities were on the table. And I was excited about all of them.
Tim, what can you tell us? Like, I mean, can we reveal if he did it? Because I'm quite excited to see how that was filmed and like basically how nervous Ralph was.
Well, I think that the battle we have, you know, Ralph obviously is braver than Neville, and I think would launch himself out of a plane with very little worry. Neville would be completely petrified, and my main desire is to humiliate Ralph in the show as much as I possibly can, and find any opportunity for him to look cool in any way. So I think
this is very true. That's an ongoing conversation. Not even joking. This is an ongoing conversation, just so you know. Every time we see each other, it's like, you're not going to get to look cool in this show, so don't keep trying.
Yeah, but the skydiving, it's a really good example of how amazing our team are out there, because we had a very strange year filming the show this year. The last 2 years, obviously, for any TV show, well, for the world, have been very strange, and from trying to make TV during COVID has been very tricky. And Guadeloupe this year was kind of more severely affected than it had been the year before, really. And there were a lot of lockdowns, a lot of things going on in Guadeloupe that made filming quite a challenge. And we had a skydiving episode where there was a way of doing it without doing the skydiving, but we really wanted to do the skydiving. And we worked with a local skydiving club who were so up for helping us that it was beyond belief. But then lockdown happened out there and it was impossible to do. Then lockdown finished, and we tried to remount it after the episode had finished filming, but the weather then turned and it didn't look like we were going to be able to do it. And then at the very last minute, everything just fell into place, and our amazing line producer and producer kind of made it all happen, and the skydiving team helped us out, and we managed to get this incredible footage of the bit that I think the audience would be thinking they never really did it, and then you'll see that we did. So I think it's a great example of us pushing as hard as we can to be sort of bold and surprise people. And all I will say is that the entire sequence is very true to Neville. And I think that if not entirely true to Ralph. So yeah, it's a really good episode, and I'm very and to kind of to fill in my memory blank earlier, that one's great. We've got William Gaminara in that episode, who we've wanted in the show for a long time. Jessica Clark in that episode. We've got a lot of really cool people sort of joining us and flinging themselves out of planes. So yeah, it's great.
Sounds very exciting. Lastly, Ralph, are there any other things you can tease about what we can see happen to Neville, or anything he'll be involved in this series?
I mean, a lot of it's more of the same, because we've established who this guy is and what he's good at and what he isn't. That said, you've always got to challenge characters, otherwise it just gets too repetitive. And again, it's always nice to put him out of his comfort zone. He, in this week's episode, the commissioner in particular just loves, and no one's ever, I'm never quite sure, maybe you have to ask Don why he thinks this is, but the commissioner really enjoys just making Neville as uncomfortable, as out of his comfort zone as possible. While Florence does that, it's like to help him out, whereas the commissioner's just got a cruel streak, I think. But in this particular episode, in the first episode coming up on Friday, tomorrow, Neville is way out of his comfort zone. I don't know if I can say exactly why, but he's asked to do something for the commissioner, which he's extremely uncomfortable with, and it doesn't go particularly well. Yeah, so you can fill in the blanks of whatever you think that might be.
Yeah, I might be about to spoil it soon. Okay, well, thank you very much. Don, actually, this is a good point to talk to you about. In the Christmas episode, actually, the commissioner was very much more hands-on because of staff shortages. And I just wondered, do you enjoy it when you get more involved in the cases? And will we see the commissioner being more involved in season 11 with that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I do enjoy it. It's because it's great to be part of the team. I mean, there's pleasure to be had in being outside the team and stepping in occasionally, but there's also a lot of pleasure, and also because it helps to develop the relationship between the commissioner and the rest of the team. You learn more. We learn more about each other. So yeah, I think you'll be seeing quite a bit more of him in series 11.
Oh, that's great. One funny scene that I've seen is coming up. Involves the commissioner teaching Neville to play golf, which is very, very amusing. And I just wondered, what was that like to film? And do you enjoy the comedy scenes? And also a bit like how it was filming that with Ralph.
It's always a pleasure to humiliate Ralph.
There's a theme here.
Yes, I know. No, this is the whole thing.
No, it's great. It's. I think that the commissioner is. If I were to use the word, he's wicked. He has a wicked sense of humor. He gets deep personal pleasure out of making, particularly, the inspector squirm. It's fun. He likes to have fun, and I think in that scene he has a lot of fun with because he knows what will embarrass him, and he goes there.
What was it like to film? Was it how much corpsing was involved, and how many takes did that require? Because
I don't think we corpsed at all. You know, comedy is very serious. You know, I think we worked. I think it came quite quickly. I think everybody thought it was going to take a really, really long time, but it fell into place pretty quickly. I think, from what I can remember, it was a long time ago. I think it was fun, Ralph. It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think I seem to remember us having quite a laugh doing that, but again, not corpsing. But sometimes these scenes crop up that you just look forward to, and you know you're going to enjoy. Don and I knew as we walked onto the golf course, you know, it's just a bit different. I mean, we love being in the police station, Catherine's Bar, the Shack, but those are our kind of hero locations. We know we're going to be there. So then when you get to go out and about, and you're like, oh, we're going to be on a golf course in the sunshine. And Don's got these great lines where he's being quite mean to me and telling me that I'm useless. We just look forward to that. And, you know, fun to play. And Don, I think he won't mind me saying, but Don's such a fantastic, he's a consummate professional, of course, but he's also very, very funny, despite him seeing despite having such gravitas. He's a very funny man, and so we do tend to have fun with those scenes. But actually, no corpsing. We were quite professional on that. I am known to corpse from time to time. It has been seen.
I've seen him do it, and it's quite fun. It's quite good. I like that.
Taj makes me go sometimes. If we catch each other's eye when there's something that's made us laugh, we've got all sorts of problems.
I'm innocent. I don't know what you're talking about.
You need to release some outtakes. Don, Selwyn remains an enigma, and we get to see very little of his personal life or his past. Do you think we'll get to see more of that this series, or do you think he'll always remain like that, a mystery to viewers?
I have a suspicion that we might learn a little bit more about Selwyn.
Do tell.
I suspect. Well, it's all I can say at the moment. I'm under embargo. There's a man over there with a gun. If I say any more, that's me finished. No. I think we will learn a bit more about Selwyn. I think, and I think it's good. I think the more you learn about a character like that, the more enigmatic they actually become.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I think we learn a bit more.
Okay. And finally, my hardest question for you, Don, I've left it till last. The commissioner is largely unamused and unimpressed by Marlon and Neville, as we've discussed. So which do you think he'd rather be stuck in a cell with? Come on.
I think, well, it's hard. I think at a pinch, Marlon.
Oh,
sorry.
What?
Sorry.
What?
Fantastic answer.
I just think
Unbelievable.
that Neville has too much about him to give the commissioner real fun. I think Marlon, he can play with him. He can play with him. He can mold him. All kinds of things could happen between the two of them, I think.
Wow.
I thought we were making progress.
We are, but you know, I have to think of the commissioner and what gives him where he could really enjoy himself. And Marlon's such an easy it's just easy meat for the commissioner.
Leads me very, very nicely to Taj, actually. First of all, an accolade for you, being locked up with the commissioner. Last series, we saw a lot more of Marlon's background, so including the fact that he'd been made homeless because his friends had chucked him out for being a copper. And I just wondered, a bit like the commissioner, will we be seeing more of Marlon's past be revealed in the next episode, next series?
Yeah, like Tim mentioned earlier, we meet someone that he used to work with, one of his old work colleagues when he was, you know, in his old life. And yeah, we heard of like the backlash to his new career of him getting kicked out by his friend because he essentially works for the enemy. But now we finally get to meet somebody that he has a lot of love and respect for. So not only do we see the effect on this person, we also see the effect on Marlon by the way they react. And yeah, it's deep. It's good. It's a good thing to see. It's something that you wouldn't really think about until you really see it and you go, oh yeah, that is it's a lot to take in. It is a lot to deal with on his side.
Intriguing. He formed a really sweet friendship with JP. We saw that, you know, JP became a bit of a mentor to him. And then he also had like a brief double act with Dwayne when Danny, John and Jules returned for Christmas. I just wondered if you could tell us a bit about his new sort of, his relationship with his new partner in crime solving, Naomi. Like what's that relationship going to look like? I think they're chalk and cheese, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a very interesting one because, you know, when he's met JP, he, you know, was a criminal. So he didn't have any police experience, didn't really want to do the job. When he's met Dwayne, he's still kind of easing himself into it and he's trying to take responsibility and, you know, take it on the chin and go, I really want to do this. And now as Naomi's come, he decided this is the life for me. This is the job I want to do. So he kind of, since Naomi's new to the job, she hasn't had a lot of experience. He feels like he should kind of mentor her, but at the same time, she does have way more training than she does. So they kind of mentor each other in a nice way. But Marlon being Marlon, he does feel like he had to take her under her wing because, you know, she's a new girl on the block, all that kind of nonsense. But really and truly, it's kind of a back and forth of, I'll teach you this, I'll teach you that, I'll teach you this, I'll show you that. And it's really nice to see. It's where they get along a lot.
Oh, that is nice. Marlon's got a bit of a twinkle in his eye though. So, I mean, could this be a potential love interest for him, or is it purely professional? Are you smiling?
Well, you know what? I actually don't. This kid, he's a madman. I don't know. I don't think he would. I think he's kind of anything he would have done in his. I call it his old life because to me this is a new Marlon to how we met him in episode 2 of season 10. So I feel like any kind of temptations he would have got in his old life, he's kind of shut out. I kind of put it to bed because he doesn't want to jeopardize his job. So I feel like if he did see a beautiful lady like Naomi back then, he would try something. But now he's like, you know what, I'm going to behave myself and keep it strictly professional. So yeah. No, is my answer.
All right, fine. I think you kind of touched upon this, but there was a suggestion before that Marlon might just be kind of doing this as a way, you know, joining the force to avoid going to jail. Like, but he's grown to love the job. We've seen that. So Marlon's 100% committed now, isn't he?
I feel like he is. I feel like in season 10, it was a get out of jail free card because that's basically what it was. And it was kind of, you know, he was taking liberties with the situation of the bike and taking the money to pocket himself. And I feel like now, you know, JP has influenced him a lot to show him that being a part of a team and a family that are going to help you and that are going to look out for you to make sure you don't go down that path again is really important. And I don't think he's taking it for granted. So I feel like he just really respects and he really loves the trust that the team put in him. So he wants to make them proud by just doing the job and just keeping on the right path.
Yeah, absolutely. Chantel, can we chat to you next? I wondered if you could tell us a bit more about your character of Naomi and how she ends up on the island, because she's not from St. Marie, is she?
No, she's not from St. Marie. She's from this tiny island called St. Barnabas. And she joined the police force there, but it was so tiny that she needed to spread her wings. And so she got the blessing from her sergeant in St. Barnabas and her family, of course, to go overseas to study on St. Marie. Ended up leaving her family and all of that, but this is her dream. So she's very excited coming to an island, a bigger police station with an actual team. So she was very, of course, intimidated, but very excited and really wanted to prove herself.
Yeah, and she certainly does that. How does she view Marlon? Because as we've just heard, they work very closely together. What's her perception of him, and how would you describe the dynamic from her perspective?
I really love the relationship between Naomi and Marlon. When she just met Marlon, of course, she thought he was probably a bit immature. She's trying to take the job very seriously. He wasn't so much taking it as seriously as she would like. And so, as Taj mentioned, there was a bit of a back and forth because, you know, he's like, oh, I'm settled, I understand how things work. But she's very calculated and, you know, things should be a particular way. And so there's that clash between them initially, but then they ended up working together very, very well. You kind of take the seriousness and the casualness and put it together, and it's a nice blend. So initially she was a bit hard on Marlon because she wanted him to take the job more seriously, but as the show progressed.
Ooh. Oh, I think we've lost. Oh, that's a shame. I think Chantal, are you on mute now? Let's see.
Sorry.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, there she is.
God, talking about a gripping cliffhanger. Yeah, so you were just saying they kind of balance each other out. Oh, I think we might have lost her. Oh, fine. And I wanted to find out, she's very confident and keen to impress, as we've kind of just said. Does she like have her eye on Neville's job or even possibly the commissioners? Is this something, you know, because she's ambitious?
She is ambitious. I wouldn't say she has her eyes on their jobs, like she came to take over. Oh, I want to be the commissioner, I want to be an inspector. Of course, she aspires to be more than what she is. She wants to grow and, of course, develop. And she's very fascinated by the inspector. I think, you know, Naomi thinks the inspector is the smartest guy she's ever met. She's very intimidated of the commissioner, but she respects him. So when she sees the commissioner and the inspector, she's like, oh, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to achieve. And so I'm going to work as hard as I can to achieve this. I don't know if I don't think Naomi thinks she's ready to get to that level, especially in the beginning when she's trying to work things out. But of course, she does aspire to get to the top eventually.
Yeah, eventually she'll do it.
Eventually.
As the newest Death in Paradise cast member, I just wondered what your first day was like, if there's anything about it that surprised you or any particular challenges you faced.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't sleep the night before. I was so excited. It was almost like the first day of school, or you're going on a school trip to the beach for the first time and you're so excited. So I couldn't sleep. But then when I got to set, everyone was very organized and very professional. So everyone was moving around and I just needed to jump in and get into the action. But my first day was very relaxed. It was very chill. I think Taj and I maybe had like one scene or two scenes for the first day, and it was outside. So it was a very chill atmosphere. But I was just very fascinated with how everyone just moved very professionally, and it was very synchronized. And of course, meeting the guest cast and then the director. I've never worked in a production where you had different directors each block, and then you have different guest casts coming in. It was just very overwhelming, but very, very exciting. And of course, the main cast, Ralph and Don and Josie and Taj, who happened to be my neighbor, they kind of welcomed me, and it was very easy to sink into the chemistry of the cast and just get going.
Yeah, and because you were a fan of Death in Paradise before joining the show, weren't you? So I wondered how excited
you were. I used to watch it before. Yes, I used to watch it before with my dad. It was very surreal, to be honest. I think seeing Don was maybe like the most surreal thing, and then having a conversation with him and realizing he's just this hilarious, very relaxed guy. And my dad was like, "Commissioner, he's still the commissioner. Did you meet the commissioner?" I'm like, "Yes, Dad, I'm working with him right now."
Did you FaceTime so he could see Don?
I don't think we FaceTime. but we did talk about it a lot, and he is excited to see the series.
Yeah, of course. I mean, has he tried to get any intel on upcoming storylines, or are you kind of lip sealed? You won't ruin it for him, your dad.
No, I'm lip sealed. Of course, they want to know everything. The most I've revealed is that I'll be wearing a Clarks, and everyone is excited about that. So, because the shoes I wear, Clarks, is very big in our culture in Jamaica. So, of course, that excites everyone. I'm like, just hold that, and then wait until the show comes out.
And finally, like, have the cast been showing you around Guadeloupe? What was it like? I heard you've been working out with Josephine, but I wonder if there's anything else you've been doing together when you first arrived to kind of settle into island life.
We didn't get to do much. Yeah, we didn't get to do much. I think in the first week or so, we went on a boat trip with Ralph to the other side of the island, which was very fun. But most of the time we were in lockdown. The country was in lockdown, so places were closed. We didn't get to go to a lot of restaurants or visit as much sites as we want to. Unfortunately, because we're in lockdown for like months at a time or weeks at a time. So we didn't get to do much, but in the general area that we were in, we're pretty much in a bubble. We tried to do as much as we could, which was really just visiting the different restaurants and visiting the neighboring islands when we could actually get on a boat. But hopefully I'll get to do that some other time because it really is a beautiful island with a lot of history.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, next time you'll have to have the group barbecues and stuff and all that. That I've heard so much about. Now, Elizabeth, I wanted to come to you, and I'm just grateful that I haven't called you Catherine, because in my head you are Catherine so much that I thought I'd make a slip up. She did come a cropper last series. We saw that when she was attacked to prevent her from revealing a crucial fact involving a case. Now, can you just confirm for viewers, because I know you had a lot of outpouring of love, like, will our favourite landlady and mayoress be safe this series?
Well, in this series, in the next one, you will be very happy because she will never be in danger.
Oh, good.
But she will be very busy with the love affairs of all the people around. So she will have to be taking care of everybody. She will always be very surprised by the reactions, but she'll have to be, as usual, the one who knows. So she will comfort people. She will encourage some others. And, well, she will be very busy with this.
Oh, okay, good. So she's not in danger. I mean,
no.
The only positive of her being in danger was that we got to see you reunite with your on-screen daughter, Sarah Martins. What was that like?
It was great. It was great to see Sarah back. It was very nice because it was like a bubble into the series, It was, there were the murders, the team, but mother and daughter had a past together, and it was, 2 or 3 series ago. So it was very nice to feel that. And it was like we'd never... we've always been together, and it was really, really nice. And I hope she'll come back.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Catherine is the resident Cupid, as we've seen. Do you think her magic could work on Florence and Neville? Like, what do you think? I know you can't give anything away, but
no.
And if not, can we rely on her to still try and hook Neville up? Because she clearly wants for him to find love. If it's not with Florence, will she still carry on?
What can I say? That Catherine likes Neville very much. It's like a son, and she always wants him to be happy, wants him to be confident. And when he's confident enough to do something, she's very surprised by the way he's doing it. So she will, she will do her best, but she can't be magical, and she will try to do her best with Florence too, and with someone else I can't tell about. but love affairs, sentimental things will be very important.
Yeah. Okay, intriguing.
Yeah.
Catherine really is a fan favorite. Like, you see it all over Twitter, you know, people just adore her. Why do you think that is? What is it about Catherine, do you think, that's that takes people to her heart, like they
Well, I think that when we see Catherine somewhere in her bar or in the shack or in police station, anywhere, it's like she is the bright side of life. She's colorful, she's confident, she knows life, she loves the team. So when she arrives, it's just that, you feel good. I think you feel good. And that's what I think people like, because it's like a mother. She knows you by heart. You always can trust her. She will help you, but she can be tricky too. So you have to be careful. But I think that's what they love her, because she will never be bad to you. She will always be confident. She's, like the way she's dressed. She's colorful, she's feminine, she's having fun with life, with clothes, and with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, no offense to the rest of the cast and characters, but she does have the best wardrobe on the show. How much of an input do you have in that? And I mean, is there anything that you take away and keep because it's so gorgeous?
Well, no, what is for Catherine stays for Catherine. And we have things from the first series, and sometimes we say, oh, come on, let's take this thing we had on the first series. And the challenge is always to have fun with a dress, with a jewelry, something which would be supposed to be a necklace, and then we put it around the waist, just having fun, creating the wardrobe, mixing things together. But it always has to be feminine, sexy, colorful, and just, you see this and then it's warm inside. You feel warm inside.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I've just had a question for someone who's watching, so I just have to ask, because it's about Catherine and her matchmaking skills. Yeah. And they've asked, will she ever turn her attention to playing Cupid for the commissioner? Or has he got a wife that we haven't heard about?
Who knows?
Oh, I think I've hit upon something, but I won't ruin anything.
I can't really tell you.
All right.
Yes.
We'll artfully step away from that. Right, just a couple of last questions then. Actually, for Tim, the Christmas special was such a huge success for you guys, and I think it was just the injection of happiness, warmth, sunshine, just fun that we all needed. Because of the success of it, will we see more specials in the future?
We'd love to do more specials in the future. I think that we've always wanted to do a Christmas special. We tried to do something, again, that was a little bit different to what we normally do, but was also very much our show. We went for a 90-minute sort of feature-length episode. And I'm really, really proud of it. And I'm kind of delighted with how it landed, because you never know, do you? And I think that when the ratings came in the next day, I was just blown away that that people had sort of come to it in such large numbers. So we'd love to do another one, and we'll just have to wait and see. But I think that we're not short of ideas, and I think that that we've got there's just, it just fits Christmas very well, I think. And any opportunity to put Don Warrington in a Father Christmas costume, it's now one of my main aims now. Even if we don't do a Christmas special, I might just write it into an episode that we have to see Don dressed as Father Christmas.
I mean, I think that Don in charge of that picture should be like the Christmas card for Death in Paradise that you send out to everyone.
It's the true meaning of Christmas.
Yeah,
absolutely. That image.
Actually, can we just Josephine? Florence she goes undercover, doesn't she? Can we say anything about that? Because I think that's quite interesting for viewers.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of what I was alluding to earlier, that we kind of in making sure that we're keeping everything fresh and doing some different things, we kind of really wanted to challenge her character, and we build a story over the first half of the series that kind of all comes to this very sort of exciting and dramatic kind of conclusion. And again, you know, it's something a bit different, which is exactly what we should be doing. It's taking our characters and our format and challenging them and making sure we still give the audience everything that they want and expect from the show. So I think that that's very much what we're about. And Josie's amazing in it, and I think that the show can do that. We're very lucky. We can. You know, we have a lot of plates to spin in our show, but we're able to do a huge number of very different things. And we're able to go from the comedy and, you know, there should always be joy in our show. It should be a very warm, joyous experience watching it. But then we can kind of, you know, upset people and challenge people and do some proper, like I say, some properly sort of surprising things. It's one of the many things I love about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of the joy actually is the music, not only just the theme tune, but one of the questions that's come in is that Juliet, who the question's from, says she loves their soundtrack and is proud that some of their tracks from the Nerve feature in the new series. And question for Tim, how important is the music to the tone of the new series, and how do you keep it fresh?
The music's like, I mean, this show has a number of kind of really key ingredients, and the music is a huge part of it because it's all part of the feel. And there's two sides to it. There's our amazing composer Magnus, who's been with the show from the beginning, and Magnus Fiennes, Ralph's brother, and David, who works with him as well, who kind of totally bring everything even more to life with the music that they compose. And it's remarkable when I hear it for the first time each episode. Every episode has its own themes and its own flavor. And this year, more than most, we've got an episode about a singer who's key to it, and there's an episode with a kind of really heavy sort of rap element to it. And in both of those instances, there's a whole different feel to the episode because of the music. And then there's the commercial music, and that's a real joy and an education and an honor to be able to sort of dig into these archives of sort of ska music and reggae and dancehall and all that sort of stuff. And you know, the Christmas ep was a really good opportunity as well to sort of try and find a way of doing some Christmas music, but with our own kind of flavor to it. So it's completely, you know, all the boxes that we need to tick to deliver a really satisfying episode of this show. The characters are key, the location is key, the puzzle, the trick, the humor, the heart, the emotion, the warmth, all of that stuff, and of course the music as well, just making sure that people can dance along to the theme tune and that they can kind of hear some tracks that they've heard of and some tracks they haven't heard of, and that Magnus's music pulls it all together. It's one of my favorite bits of the whole thing, is being in that final mix and hearing it, seeing the whole thing together with the music coming out. I love it.
Absolutely, and we love it too. So guys, we're actually running out of time. This is
just to be clear, when Tim said Magnus Fiennes, Ralph's brother, he meant Rafe Fiennes. It's not my brother who's just randomly doing.
Oh yeah.
My brother, who's a doctor, will be going, what, I've got to do that as well? This is a bit much.
I'm doing really well with names today. I've got a really good name.
Thank you to Grace, by the way, who got in touch with me to let me know that it's Floryville. Yeah, Voldemort's brother. Grace got in touch with me to let me know it's pronounced Floryville, according to the fans. So thanks, Grace.
Okay, fine, Grace. I was trying to make Flevel happen, but that's fine.
Yeah.
We've clarified everything now. So all that is left for me to say is thank you so much to all of our wonderful cast and Tim for being on the panel today and talking about the new series. We look forward to seeing it. It starts tomorrow, so you don't have long to wait, at 9 o'clock on BBC One, and we will all be tuning in. But for now, hearty thanks and good luck with the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.